coming down.
Her picking on a Cardi B,
It's kind of stupid. Like
it is punching down for her.
Correct,
But at
yeah.
the same time,
but it's clout. She's trying to get clout. She's trying to get people.
yeah, but people using Cardi B in the same time, in the same token, to try to like get. This is what we talked about last time, where it
Correct.
was like,
Yeah.
like you're using people that are easily manipulated to spread your
But
narrative
happened.
that
But
aren't educated about the
She's not going to
narrative.
stop that from happening.
Yeah, but the thing
She's just
no,
picking on
no,
whoever she wants.
She's not going to stop it from happening, but what she's going to do is anybody that's listening to Cardi B is not going to focus on the beef, and they're going to want to see like, what's this bitch Candace Owens saying about Cardi, you know? And then in listening to what Candace
She's
Owens
going to
said,
gain more followers.
she might say
She's doing it for clout.
No,
Well, did you see the Dave Chappelle Midnight Miracle podcast about Talib Kweli?
Mm-mm.
She was like, her and Talib Kweli were going at it,
Mhm.
and then she was asking. She was like, "Oh, well, come on my show. I'll debate you."
Right.
And he was like, "No, I'm not gonna give you that. Like, I'm not gonna give you
That
that."
would have been dope.
It would have been dope.
That would have been dope.
But
I would love to hear what Talib has to
She's
say.
just
about
trying to get, and like Dave Chappelle, she didn't want to debate with Dave Chappelle. She avoided that battle. So like stuff like that, when it's just about like gaining,
You're punching down, yeah.
but also gaining your base, because I mean that's what's lucrative for her. She's got her show. She wants more of a following, and she's a great debater. She's very intelligent.
Someone say a master.
But I mean, of course she's gonna make Cardi B look silly.
Yeah,
She'd make anybody.
it's an
Yeah.
easy
Correct.
win.
So,
it's an easy W.
but going back to vaccines, that's what she just had a string of live posts about vaccines, about like polio and rubella, and she was saying how a lot of these things we've been just like told to believe that these were
Facts.
ongoing major issues, but they were caused by U.S. government. Or I mean, she goes and breaks it down. I'm doing a horrible job of it, but she's
Like
actually
she gets her tinfoil hat on a little bit and starts going
kind
into
of, but she is backing it up with her information. I haven't double checked it. I don't know, but it seems pretty legit. And it's a question worth.
Yeah, but there's a lot of
She does go
there's
like
a lot of information that flat earthers will pull out.
yeah, correct,
that'll
definitely.
have you sitting there thinking like,
but
oh my
like
God.
we are the most vaccinated nation out of all
Definitely.
nations, and we do have the highest level of SIDS amongst any nation. So she was like correlating the things and what, you know, side effects from all these, and that it's big pharma pushing all these. I don't know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, again, if we're getting into conspiracies of it all, yeah, you definitely have to follow the money. Anytime you follow the money, it's going to lead to big pharma, crooked politicians, and the Rockefellers and Rothschilds. You know what I mean?
Ultimately, I'm not a fan of Candace Owens, but the topic she brought up, you know, is worth looking into.
Kind of sounds like
you
you're
know.
a fan, though.
No, not at all. Not a fan.
Sounds like you're.
I was very interested in what she brought up, though. So, I mean,
how fans
I could
start.
still not be a fan and respect the comment she
100%.
made. So.
100%. What?
It was just funny.
Wait.
That's how fans start. Just that little.
It's like, but
Yeah. No, the whole
like-
Dave
like
Chappelle thing,
like
I'm a
that's-
Dave Chappelle fan more so than a Candace Owens fan.
Yeah, but I mean, she doesn't do comedy. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not going to Chappelle to. Okay, so we had to reset
So I'm backing up to Lib Kweli
because
over Candace Owens.
Roman's tits got in the way.
Thank you
But,
for mentioning the reset because it was driving me insane
yeah,
that we haven't
yeah,
brought it back
I
yet.
need it. So we had to reset because Roman's tits got in the way and
Sorry.
his pecs crushed the microphone.
I'm just so buff
it's
now.
it's at 50 push-ups.
100 push-ups.
100 push-ups. Sorry.
No,
100.
it was 50.
It was 50.
So now it's 100.
Now you're 100. Fucking A. Look at you,
Getting better every day.
beast.
David Goggins. Can't hurt me.
Is he gassing you up?
No, it's one of
Every
the
day?
people
You
I
listen
read.
to it?
I
You
read?
read?
His book, yeah. Or
Oh, you read his
I
book?
listened to his book.
You heard his book.
Yeah.
Okay, but you don't follow him on Instagram. You don't
Oh, I do.
Like
He's
his daily
dope.
stuff? Like
Yeah, I think we talked about this.
yeah, his I don't know if that one's gonna get released.
His
But-
birthday his birthday message to Joe Rogan.
That's
is
what
the
you're
best,
saying. Yeah. Where he's like, oh, that's what we talked about on the
Yeah,
last
yeah.
podcast. Yeah, with the conspiracy thing. But
But we're getting into something. I'm sorry, I sidetracked this.
yeah, no. So you were talking about big pharma and her saying like the correlation with big pharma and everything like that. It's like, yeah. So think about how much BS we've found in the mainstream media in the last couple of years. In the last, we'll say 6 years with Trump and everything and what's going on with the pandemic. How much bullshit we've weeded out. And we're like, oh my God, like CNN's ratings have tanked because they're not credible anymore. Like it's rare to see people that actually like listen to CNN for, I feel like people more listen to CNN for argument's sake. Like they make a strong left argument. So if you lean left and you want to make that argument, you could take some of their stuff.
That's why
Same as
people do Fox News.
Fox,
Like,
exactly.
yeah.
I'm not. So again, I'm saying mainstream
Yeah.
media in a whole.
In general.
Right and left, you see how much bullshit there is
Yeah.
in there. And the only reason we can weed out the bullshit now is because technology has gotten to the point where we can sit there and we can fact check, we can look, we can research, we can look at stats, we can see what they're saying.
I think that's a little misconstrued too, just because there's like still a lot of bad information out there that you have to decipher. So, well, like almost outrageous on the other side, right? And that's either topic.
Right, but the information's out there to where you can decipher it yourself and you can make sense of what you want to make
Correct,
sense of.
but it does. I mean, it's
As opposed
it's
to
a battle.
As opposed to 1940, 1960, where it's like, here's your LA Times, here's your whatever, and it was
Your
Bible.
one,
It was
yeah,
truth.
yeah, correct. That was all that was
That's
there.
it. How are you
Right.
gonna question it? Unless you knew somebody that was in the field that could tell you otherwise. It's
Correct.
like, this is what they're saying, they're reporting on it, and I have to take it as
These are
true.
the numbers. Yeah.
Walter
That's it.
Cronkite, you had all these people, and to be fair to them, journalism then was a lot different than journalism now. You know, I feel like journalism there was just like, look, I'm just giving you guys what we're hearing. It's up to you guys to decipher if you guys want to believe what we're saying, or if you think it's true, or if you think it's far-fetched, whatever it is. Now I think it's more become like, this is the downside of capitalism, is that now you have a bunch of media outlets just trying to make as much money as possible any way they can, and now because the reach through technology is so vast, they
And
need to just make
accessible
Accessible,
as
right.
well. So even like the bad journalists can be journalists and pop
Yeah.
things out, you know,
yeah,
as long as you're fast and just
exactly. As long as you get the message out first, like TMZ, like anytime TMZ puts out that someone died, I take it as fact, you know. And that happened when Kobe died. Oh, by the way, Kobe's anniversary just passed. Rest in peace, Black Mamba, and Gigi, and the other, I think, what was it? Another,
7.
was it 9 total? I thought it was 11 total.
Maybe
I think it was 9.
9 total.
I think so.
Everyone that perished in that helicopter crash. I don't mean to laugh. There's another topic I want to get into about that, but yeah. But yeah, TMZ's become like the most credible place to find out when someone dies.
Or
now.
when somebody breaks up, like Kanye. And
Yeah,
Kim.
or that. You know what I mean? So it's like.
But it's like, what's the,
But there are a
yeah.
bunch of kids running around with cameras, you know, at LAX and stuff like that, and just
Yeah.
like prying into people's business that they really shouldn't be. But that's journalism apparently. So it's
Is it though?
it's wild. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
well,
what it's become.
like a lot of
That's what it's become because it's all about the dollar. It's all about
Right,
money. If
yeah.
you get a picture of Kim,
Because nobody wants to
Kanye.
really see actual, like journalism is supposed to be just like, all right, this is what happened, not my opinion in there. But now everybody's
Right.
like, well, what's your thoughts on it?
there's
You know?
opinion pieces now.
Now, well, I mean, there's always been like op-eds, right?
Yeah.
But it's just been a separate little section, and it's like, oh, well, this is our take
Yeah.
on the current presidential race or whatever the hell the topic is, and they'll give their like official stance on it. But now, like everything, every writer is having their op-ed, you
Right,
know,
their narrative
correct.
be
So
pushed.
it's just like, oh man. So now it's like just super overcrowded, and it's like, well, hell. I don't know what to think.
Yeah.
Now I gotta think for myself.
What's fact? And that's the thing is, I feel like people like as sad as it is to say, I think people don't like thinking for themselves. They're like, just give me the cliff notes
Yeah,
about it and let
yeah,
me
yeah,
know what it is, so I
yeah.
can kind of like, oh,
Make
that.
my own. I'll make my
Like,
own.
how do
little-
you feel about it? Okay, I trust your judgment. You're pretty good at whatever.
Oh, that
And-
makes sense.
And that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about, where it's like they exploit guys like LeBron James, Kaepernick, and all these other people, where it's like these people aren't educated on the things they're saying. They just feel a certain way about it because of people that they may respect around them that may say certain things. But when it comes down to it, their level of education on the actual topics they're speaking about should be taken with a grain of salt, you know? And
yeah, yeah.
and but the thing is, the reach is to the most impressionable people that there are, you know, and it's dangerous. You start playing with mob mentality when you start dealing with stuff like that. You know, it's like if I get a
Right.
bunch of people to believe that,
Well, the weird thing has been going on for so long.
oh
Right.
my goodness.
Or it's been going on. I mean, it's just a proven
snake
thing
oil.
that goes around.
It's
I
snake
mean,
oil. Like,
rock
hey,
the
this
boat,
is-
like you mentioned.
Exactly,
You know,
exactly.
I mean, it's been
Diddy
happening
and all them,
for-
you know what I mean? And like chances are 90% of those people either A, don't vote, or they vote Republican because they got a lot of hidden interest with the money they make, and they want to make sure that they hold on to that shit.
Yeah, but rock the vote was kind of not taking a side. It was just like
It wasn't. It was just go out and
Go out and
vote,
vote.
go and vote. But
no matter
it
who
was
you vote for.
beneficial.
Now it's like shit. We can mold the way they vote.
Well, but the thing is, they knew it then. Statistically, they knew that younger kids would tend to vote more liberal because they have more of a bleeding heart for society.
Is that? I mean, what is that based off?
Statistics.
Is it like
yeah?
what statistic?
You want to give it a coup?
No, not that one.
Well,
That one's not gonna
well,
be
like I mean, that's easy to
You
just
know
be
what,
like, no,
you-
that's backed up.
go
This
ahead
is
and give me
backed
that
up." I'm just
search
saying.
term.
Maybe kids here are
Voter demographic.
kids in Texas.
Voter demographic by age.
Kids in Texas are voting.
Yeah, but
All
you're
Republican.
making the
Oh, really?
argument as
Austin?
to why they vote that way.
Austin, really? You think?
Oh no!
Austin?
Well, back then in rock the vote time, definitely. Maybe now, I mean, it's become more democratic,
The-
but that's the
the-
only
the
that's
theory-
the only town that's really
The theory behind it is
here.
Kids-
Here, yeah, you could definitely probably make that case. I'm just saying, overall in the U.S.
No,
with rock the vote,
no.
because rock the vote was
in
on
general.
MTV.
In general, they say kids that grow
I'm
up
disagreeing with that.
like you can disagree with it. It's statistics. That's
What?
what it is.
Show
I'm
me
sure
a
it's- I'm sure it's
statistic.
that.
I doubt it.
But here, the reason, the logic behind it is that kids coming out of high school, in college, don't necessarily have the work experience and have been to where they're like seeing like, oh, I'm getting taxed this much money, so I make this much money, but I'm getting taxed this much money, and it's like, this is ridiculous. Where's my money going? Once you have enough time of that happening to you, you start thinking in a more conservative mindset.
I mean,
And when when you're younger, you tend to rebel against what, like, so say you have conservative parents.
but okay,
you tend to-
you're making a specific claim though. You're saying like the situation you may know, and it's valid what you're saying. But you're telling me kids in Texas in the '90s were
No,
who-
I'm not. I'm
who
not.
were-
I'm not. I'm not saying specifically
and
kids in Texas
so,
in the '90s.
I mean, you
I'm
break
saying
down
that-
the U.S.
I'm saying
on
that-
voters and
that-
Republicans and Democrats.
And this is something that was told to me when I was in my government class,
All
where
right,
it's
so
like
is that
you
who
guys
you're citing as your?
probably.
So if I'm reading these graphs right, and there's about 10% chance that I am. Over the last like 25-year span from about 94 to 2017, Gen Xers, so roughly, people born on here it says 1980 and beyond, they've roughly stayed about 50-50, like 46 to 48 and all that
Sounds
stuff.
about right.
Right.
I mean,
But when you get to millennials, and when it has them only starting really voting since 2002, it's been 53 leaning to the left and 38 leaning to the right, and it's only widened as it's been gotten on. So now it's more like
Alright.
60-30, with the rest leaning kind of or registered as independent.
So what do you want to do with those facts?
I just think, well,
With those stats, I should.
they're more recent facts, right?
Right.
Well,
Up to
numbers.
2017. Up to 2017.
Did you want to say anything, or you just came to say hi? Love you. All right, I love you. Bye.
Love you too.
Love you too.
Aw, you guys. So
No, but I mean, that could be a true. You should rock the vote. Because look, in the '90s, right? You break it down,
I'll give you that.
it's probably split. I mean, if you're going over the whole U.S., Texas doesn't have that mentality. Yeah, maybe here in California.
What are your stats that are saying that Texas doesn't have the mentality? Just because the people that you know, or just because you know the voting, just because it's a red state?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So,
Kid,
So just because it's a red state, you're gonna say
The
that
majority of
Texas-
kids were voting Republican. Yeah.
So you think that the people that vote in Texas are all kids? The majority.
No, people who were watching. We were talking about Rock the Vote, right? That was this argument.
Well, no. My argument is that kids from a certain demographic, from like say, we'll say 25 to 18, that can actually vote, tend to lean more left, lean more Democratic because of the fact that they haven't gone through life experiences where they realize that they're getting screwed on the taxes that they're paying and all the things that the politicians give to them. Like,
And,
like
yeah.
when did you get involved in politics?
18. When I started like looking at.
You got it. You actually would look at who you're voting for, why you're voting for them, and you were 100% like, I agree with what this person's saying.
Yeah.
I'd say you're probably in the minority then. You know.
Okay.
But-
I mean, my only point was Rock the Vote was
Yeah.
like just trying to get people to vote, right? They weren't
One, yeah.
swaying, and it was just
But
like
I think they were trying. I think they went that route specifically because of political science. You know, what would be great to have on for this conversation is Hiscox and say, based off political science and all the
Yeah,
polls
yeah,
that they
yeah.
do and all the stuff like they do, they tend to look and say, look, these people here are the most impressionable, are the most likely to be swayed a certain way, and if we put, there's a reason Rock the Vote was going through MTV and it wasn't going through CNN, wasn't going through any other channels
correct.
where
Yeah,
people of a
there was
different demographic.
a base that they knew they can hit.
Exactly.
That wasn't tapped before,
Right,
so they're like.
but they realized that they were impressionable. They wouldn't have done it. They wouldn't have wasted their time and all the efforts and all the money and paid P Diddy God knows how
you're
much
right.
money.
I mean, I don't know.
Say that again for the camera, please.
I still think that kind of balanced out.
I'm,
and
I'm,
now
I'm,
they're
su-
like,
I'm sure it's perpetrated what they wanted it to do.
and now they're like, oh, you know what? Now if we start putting political people on to help sway it,
Mhm.
they're going to vote our way.
Yeah.
You know. So I
Same way now we're test dummies
'Cause before
for
it
the
wa-
future with algorithms.
Because before it was just like musicians, like, all right, go out and vote. You know, we're singing the song.
Right.
Come out and vote. You know, doesn't say who to vote for,
Right.
but made people look into it.
But the
But
peop but the,
I'll-
my argument is the people putting the money behind that, saying like, hey, Cardi B, hey.
But I don't. I
so-
mean, Florida, Texas. I mean, mainly majority Republicans. That was back then. I mean, a swing state. Maybe you get it, Florida, right? Florida's always kind of been now more so leaning Republican.
in that time frame specifically too.
But yeah, I mean that was the Gore Bush time
Mhm.
frame. But I don't know. That's what swung it, bro. Rock the vote.
So my
Those are the 500 votes right there.
my mentality behind it comes from my more conspiratorial like mindset on how like who's pulling the strings, who's running, and why they make these moves. Everything is calculated in my estimation. It's not something where it's like, hey, you know what? Why don't we try getting celebrities to do it? It's like, no, we're not going to pump all this money into paying celebrities to say this shit if we don't know for a fact we're going to get the turnout that we're looking for.
But like it could have just been like, all right, let's see what this demographic does to our numbers, like overall, like let's
Oh.
see how much they bump it up. And it's like, hey, maybe we benefit more than them. Who knows? You know, so
That's a very logical kind of what's the word, trustworthy person's way of looking at it, which
But you're looking at like, oh, Democrats were like, look,
not Democrats. I'm not even talking about Democrats. I'm talking about the powers that be, whatever you want to color them. If you want to color them Illuminati, if you want to color them bankers, if you want to color them Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, whoever it is. If you want to talk, if it's Ghislaine Maxwell and all her cronies
And the Epstein.
and the
groups.
Epstein, bunch, whoever you want to color it as. There's people that make specific moves, and it's all calculated. It's nothing that's just kind of like by chance. We're gonna go ahead. Put it this way: if it was a stock, would you sit there and be like,
you just sat there and made the argument that it was more liberal leaning. I disagree with that. I agree with that your last statement though. I can.
that it was more liberally? So you're arguing that,
No, you initially.
or
were
you're
saying-
disagreeing with the fact that I'm saying that it's more left leaning.
Correct. I think
the influence that they
I
wanted.
think who the
that they
powers
wanted
that
to
be
sway.
could be like, all right, let's see what this boost gives us. we can figure this out and have it come be our advantage.
It's tough to say. I mean, because when you start getting into like conspiracy
Well, I would say I would agree
theories
more
and
so
all that,
with that than, oh, well, the liberals did this intentionally because they did rock the vote because it would help them out more. I don't agree with it.
right? I
But
can see that.
you brought up Ghislaine. Ghislaine, is that her name? Ghislaine?
Ghislaine.
Ghislaine
Is from what I know.
Maxwell?
I don't
Yo,
give a shit. She's
off
a
the list
pedophile
that
either
you
way.
saw of the people on the plane, who is like stuck out to you the most that were like, dang, what?
I haven't looked over the list.
You didn't see it, well, like
No,
the
no,
names.
I
What
haven't.
names did you see?
But what?
Did you see any names, Jake? That stick
Yeah,
out to you?
I mean, there was a few actors that I was like, like
I seen Chris Tucker. I was like,
yeah, that was probably the most outlandish one.
Chris Tucker went on
Wait.
24 times.
Outlandish? Why?
Well, just
Out of all the people
The
on there,
dude was, I don't know if he was drugged up or drunk or whatever, going 80 something down the highway, saying he was trying to go to church. Like, he had some rough goes. He, like, after Friday or after
Smoking,
Fifth Element,
yeah.
whatever you want to call it, whatever,
well, because
or rush hours, after the rush hours, he kind of went. So there was rumors, I think, of him smoking crack. I'm not sure if it's true or so, or maybe they just thought he was. But then that tends to be a narrative that they paint for a
Yeah.
lot of black actors. That they did the same shit with Martin Lawrence. But,
Dave Chappelle though too, right? When
yeah,
was
like he's
doing-
smoking. Yeah, he's smoking crack. Went to Africa and
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's like what the. But it's the ones that I'd like to like. Hey man, how about we release the paperwork on this?
Yeah.
Is the royal family stuff.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, Clinton. You know.
I mean, Clinton. Come on,
smashing.
Clinton.
Clinton. I mean, I remember hearing names of him with like hot actresses and just being like, what?
Yeah.
Bill Clinton pulling that? That was
Yeah.
pretty impressive.
Dude, the guy from Counting Crows smashed Jennifer Aniston.
True.
You know what I mean?
going back to that list, I looked up Ghislaine Maxwell list, and this was an article written about a week or 2 weeks ago, and it's saying that she's no longer objecting to releasing the 8 John Does on the list, and now those 8 John Does being released is up to a judge to rule and whatnot. So
Let me guess how that's gonna go.
These names are even bigger than the names already released, right? 8 John Does, right?
yeah, it's
like
8 of them. Yeah. So
That's kind of crazy. Like, I mean,
Kinda
Clinton, Trump
crazy.
is on there, right? So it's like,
Those are gimmies.
I mean, how much bigger do you? But like, who else? Like, who else could those 8 be?
I think-
there's already a prince announced, right?
Yeah.
And stuff.
Like,
I think. Well, I don't know if
I'm trying to find
I don't know if any of the Obamas were on the manifest, but they definitely had. I think they had like pictures with them.
correct.
You know, like
Yeah.
like rubbing elbows and stuff like that. But John Doe's, that'd be crazy.
That's I mean, that's interesting to
Willing to bet
see.
one of those names is either Rothschild or Rockefeller. That'd be wild. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
I don't
stumped.
know.
Who would that be?
Well, I would think it'd be people that are highly
Currently in.
highly influential, and they don't want like it's for sure death if
Yeah,
if you name
They're
them.
getting whacked.
And she's like I'm getting killed
Someone
anyway.
getting
So.
whacked anyway. Yeah.
Oh, she's
She's-
done for sure.
Yeah. It's gonna be like El Chapo.
Nah,
Yeah, that'd be
she's-
sweet.
That's too easy. Chapo's doing that on the side anyway.
True,
It doesn't
yeah.
even matter.
Epstein was probably just like, "Yo, bro,
Yeah. Show me the ways, man. Bring some coke.
bring some stuff. I got my stuff. Let's just have a party, bro. Talk numbers."
You bring the powder, I'll bring the ladies, and we'll have a good time. Yeah, I don't know. That stuff, man. I mean, that's rabbit hole type. That's such a rabbit hole that I don't even want to begin. I'll come out here with a giant Q on my chest if I go down that rabbit hole. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
There's certain things like
and that's the thing. Like, you start talking conspiracy theories, it's like, look, QAnon, you're Q. You know, it's like you immediately get labeled.
there's a
that.
reason for that, man. There's a reason for that.
Well,
There's
Q's.
same reason that they say every black actor is on crack whenever they flip the hell
Yeah.
out when
Yeah,
the industry
yeah,
starts
I mean,
fucking
for
with
sure.
it. You know.
It's
It's a narrative. It's a narrative that's pushed, and so this is what's crazy with the fact that technology is what it is today. Is that everyone that looked like, oh, you're QAnon, you're crazy, you're full of shit, blah 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 blah, you're a conspiracy theorist. Now all of a sudden it's like, hey, remember that conspiracy I had a couple months ago? Doesn't seem so far-fetched now, does it?
So, just rebuttaling that, the Q's like theories and shit gets a little crazy.
Oh, for sure.
So, there is an extreme to the Q, but it's like you touch anything, it's like
They're wearing tinfoil suits.
You can easily be labeled in that category, and that's what's.
Yeah, if you say motherfuckers
frustrating.
are drinking blood, then it's kind of like.
But it's
Although there are
correct, yeah.
there are ceremonies where they've shown people doing weird shit
But
like that.
I mean, the people going to Texas to see Robert Kennedy Jr. or John F. Kennedy Jr. You know, because they thought he was coming back, was a Q theory.
Those are
right?
the same people drinking Kool-Aid in.
Correct, yeah. But so most people just hear like a conspiracy and they're like, brain shuts off. I don't want to be involved or get sucked into that.
Those people are
world.
called cowards.
But I mean, there are things to be questioned, and
For sure.
kind of what I dig about going full circle to Joe Rogan is Joe Rogan like just has anybody on. He's the first to tell you he's not an expert and just talks about it. I always hated on him because he made fun of Carlos Mencia, but.
Because he made fun of Carlos Mencia?
Not made fun of Carlos Mencia, but he kind of picked on Carlos Mencia.
He
early
picked
on.
on Carlos
Yeah,
Mencia?
Yeah, I mean,
Do you know the story?
yeah, definitely. But I was a fan.
I don't
of
think you
Carlos-
do.
I was a fan of Carlos Mencia was stealing jokes, right?
Not just stealing jokes. He was stealing dudes' whole bits, like their entire like.
All right,
like
but okay.
set.
Initially, I was a fan of Carlos Mencia, and then
Yeah,
Joe
no,
Rogan,
you weren't. Here's the thing: you weren't a fan of Carlos
was a
Mencia.
fan of
You were a
everybody
fan of
else's
everybody else's
jokes that he
material,
stole. Okay,
going through
whatever.
his shit.
All right, okay. And
So
then
it's
he
like, yeah, there's a lot
then
of
he went
great-
up on stage and like punked him, like literally punked him, and like ruined his career. I mean, he probably deserved it. But hey,
Here's the thing: is
So,
at
I
the
would-
time, he didn't even ruin Carlos Mencia's career. What happened was
well, he had a TV show.
Joe Rogan got banned from the Comedy Store. So for like 8 years, Joe Rogan, I don't know if he got banned or it was just kind of like he decided like, fuck it, you guys are gonna roll with this guy because this guy brings in crowds. I get it, I understand. I'm not coming to the Comedy Store. For like 8 years, he didn't go to the Comedy Store, which was his staple. You know what I mean? And at the time, he was. I mean, did you know Joe Rogan was doing comedy back then?
No,
Or was he just
I
a
was
Fear
like,
Factor dude?
Yeah, just a Fear Factor UFC dude.
Yeah, UFC dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like, and then even the UFC shit, you're like, why is this guy doing UFC? Is he into mixed martial arts at all?
I knew he was like
Yeah.
fighting and stuff. So
So it's like now you know, like, oh shit, he's well versed in all this shit.
no, definitely.
You know what I mean?
I knew that back then, but that's another reason why I was like, he just bullied. Well, Joe Rogan wasn't that funny to me. He wasn't a
Mm-hmm.
comedian. He's a good podcast, like
Yeah. He's a good
person.
personality.
Yeah,
He's a
but
great guy to have a
To
conversation
me, he
with.
wasn't a comedian.
Yeah, his stuff is hit or miss. It's an acquired taste.
So I thought he was just. I mean, well, he did. He went on stage and punked
Time.
Carlos Mencia.
Yeah, we got a few minutes.
He went on and punked him. So I was like, oh, this guy just bullied him, you
Mhm.
know. So I always kind of hated him or disliked him for that. But no, I like him a lot now. I mean, I think he's pretty dope.
And soon,
Especially the conversation.
and soon Candace Owens will be in that same breath.
Maybe. Maybe.
All right, we're gonna reset real quick, and then we'll get back to.
But the thing is,
Wait, are we? Do you segue into it?
we're coming back from what we were just talking about, Carlos Mencia. So you're saying you like Carlos Mencia because when you were in high school, all your friends liked him before he had a show.
Yeah,
And he had a great show. I mean, I think everybody was a fan
honestly,
of the
I
show.
only seen like a few of the episodes, but I was more so into his stand-up, and I just had a bunch of like Napster recordings of Carlos Mencia. Yeah.
Like, to me, he was just kind of like oh, this guy's trying to like float off the coattails of George Lopez. You know?
See, I didn't see that at all, and you know, what? I actually get people say I look like a George Lopez. If George Lopez and Matt Damon had a kid, that would be like me. So, but so I always hated on George Lopez. And actual side,
Is that even the George Lopez thing? Matt Damon.
yeah. Well, George Lopez, Matt Damon. I don't know.
George Lopez, Matt Damon. I see the George Lopez 100%.
Hey.
The Matt Damon is where I'm
I got.
I think that the Matt Damons are on the eyes.
Is that what it is?
Maybe.
Like the shape around there.
Who said that? We need to have
I
whoever
had a
said
bunch
that.
of people tell you.
Whoever quoted that.
I remember Dan Pianella used to.
Dan-
More than one person said this to you at different times.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah,
Matt
George Lopez, I would
and
get like
Matt
just
Damon.
separately. Yeah, Matt Damon, it would be a lot. Jacoby Ellsbury from Boston Red Sox, I'd get that a lot.
That's when
So.
you flash a picture of Jacoby Ellsbury.
Right, it's
Yeah.
going to be in the edit. I'm gonna have
But-
to. That's a deep
But
goog.
yeah, maybe that was younger me. I don't know.
Well, we'll try to get
Matt Damon
try
is
to
a,
get a mashup somehow. Of,
yeah, right. George Lopez,
Can you
Matt
like
Damon.
fuse them?
I'm sure there's an app. I'm sure there's an app.
And it's gonna just be me.
It's gonna be-
No, anyway, George Lopez was never a fan of him either because my uncle, he used to work, passed away, but he used to work Angels parking, and he was like VIP parking, so he'd get like celebrities and whatnot. And he used to have cool stories about a lot of people. He said George Lopez went one time, and he like opened his door. He was like, "Hello, Mr. Lopez, how's it going?" And then he came out of his limo and looked at him and was like, "Who are you?" And like my uncle was just like, "All right, whatever," and didn't say anything. But he just, I mean, I get celebrities can have that thing. Like Kobe was notorious for that. But kind of an asshole.
I've heard numerous accounts of George Lopez being an asshole, and not only George Lopez being an asshole, being like a pompous kind of like, oh, you like to think you're this like in touch Hispanic Mexican, but I was like, but you're playing golf with Donald Trump, rubbing out, you know what I mean? Like you'll be quick to be like, fuck that puto, all this shit, but like you're a regular at Trump National, you're always rubbing on, and then that whole like like that whole persona goes right the fuck away as soon as you step off stage. I've seen him fly out of LAX a couple times, and he's one of those dudes that like doesn't touch his boarding pass. He's got a handler, and he just like cruises through all this shit. I don't know, but at the same time, if I came from nothing, which I don't know if he came from nothing, I really don't know much about him. But like, if I was like based off of his persona, came from nothing, and I'm East LA or whatever, and now I'm here, I'd kind of be a bit of a pompous ass too, a little bit. I'd be like, leave me alone.
I wouldn't, but
I know you wouldn't. 100% you wouldn't. You wouldn't. We'll see when this podcast takes off.
when it flies off.
They're gonna be like, man,
Who are you, fool?
take it easy, George Lopez Jr.
George Lopez, Matt Damon.
But going back on the Carlos Mencia shit, so the reason the reason Carlos Mencia got punked by Joe Rogan on that stage was because he'd go on and he'd bump comedians for like 3 or 4 hours, and he'd just stand on stage and he'd just like fuck everybody else's sets, and he'd just be there. There was like a few
All while like stealing them, or no?
and doing other people's bits. So on top of it, so it's like not only are you, and then like there'd be times where like he'd go on before you, like say you had like this really killer bit, he'd go on, do your bit before your set. So not only would it take up like 2-3 hours for you to go, like, so you're sitting there like 2 hours, like, oh, Mencia's on, so whatever, and like there was just guys that would do that. They'd come in and like just think that they could just bulldoze an entire set list, and then on top of that, you're stealing my bit. So now when I go on, I can't even do my bit anymore. So now I'm like struggling, so I don't even seem as funny as you.
Yeah.
So you're
you're all fucked up because your whole thing that you had planned is all out the window.
Right, and then you're the
it.
last person that anyone remembers being funny, because Carlos Mencia is the last one that anyone remembers being funny because he was the one that was like
Stole the show.
killed it. Then everyone else after was like, I don't really have a set. Like, this guy sucks. So that's why he was tired of like, and then he did it. I think he did it to Artie Shafir, which is a good friend of Joe Rogan's. So then finally he was just like, and then like he says like he has this catalog of all these, like I record all my sets and all this stuff. So
Who, Joe Rogan?
No. This is Carlos Mencia. He's like, I record all my sets, and I can tell you if I did the joke, and if you told me that you did it at a certain time, and I can look back and I did it afterwards, and I'll go ahead and like take it out of my set. But they all think that's him trying to like recover. So what they're saying in the comedic community is like, if you really had that like kind of like genuine kind of like, hey, I didn't know I was stealing your shit, I didn't mean it, like I'll take it out of my set, his career wouldn't have had such a bad dump.
Yeah.
It's just that So once he got called out for stealing people's shit, he had no more material. So all his material after that suffered. So people were just kind of like, it wasn't so much the fact that Joe Rogan, because a lot of people didn't even know that happened. You know, a lot of people were like, it was like, again, some like Napster type shit. You had to find it.
I mean,
on the internet.
Not that I'm like big in the comedic world, but I mean, and maybe because I'm a UFC fan, I heard about it. But yeah, I mean, it was a pretty big thing, you know. And I was like, oh dang, well,
it's kind of shit. He got bullied. You thought,
So
you were wrong, bro.
Am I?
No, I don't know,
bro. Let's have Carlos Mencia on there. Hey, you're probably not doing
You're
anything.
available.
Hey, Ned.
Ned, you're available if you want to come on.
Come sit with us.
I think that's a wrap for this one, yeah?
Can be. We got 20 minutes. It's up to you.
Oh, what's this? Hold on. Joe Rogan responds to growing protests over COVID-19. No, I think that's it. You got to go pick up your kids. I don't want to hold you up. I don't want anybody getting upset about what we does here.
I don't know. We're just like.
You don't have any topics?
No. Yeah. How do you work that clock?
We'll figure that clock out.
Yeah.
All right. For those
Super
who
Bowl
tuned in.
prediction. No.
Oh, Super Bowl predictions, real quick.
What you got?
Okay, I predict Rams will win. I want the Bengals to win.
All right, that's
Right.
easy way out. But I mean, so Bengals line pretty crappy. I mean,
I haven't seen it.
Joe Burrow,
Oh, Bengals line. Okay,
Line,
I thought you meant the betting line.
No. Why are you laughing over there?
Our favorite balcony over there is just what came out was
Yeah.
Nice.
helmet. And
People,
it just made me laugh.
Hey,
So I'm
we'll
Long
be
Beach,
on
Long
next
Beach.
week. Tune in. We'll have our
New
neighbor,
guest,
our
new
new guest.
Do the
But,
Super Bowl predictions.
Go ahead.
But yeah, Bengals line pretty shitty. Like I'm surprised they've gotten this far. Total collapse, KC this weekend. I mean, that was just nuts. I mean, going into the half, almost scored, didn't get coming out with any points. Totally almost getting blanked for the second half. I mean, it's pretty dope thing. Joe Burrow.
You know why though, right?
Why?
Because of Jackson Mahomes.
Was that his brother?
His brother, I guess.
Doing
Brother or lover,
dances?
one of the
Yeah,
two.
yeah.
Doing these Twitter, not Twitter,
They're
TikTok
pretty
dances.
sweet though. I kind of.
Are they pretty? You dig
I
them?
like it.
I
Got
haven't.
moves. Got moves.
I saw
but
the one
yeah.
that lost him the game.
I am
Wasn't impressed.
I'm going Rams. I mean, just because I think they're just a better team. I mean, the defense is so. Not only do the Bengals have a crappy O line, but Rams' D line is just murderous. They are.
One reason I think the Rams will win is because of Cooper Kupp. That dude is.
He's a stud. Yeah.
Dude's
I mean, him and
amazing.
Stafford could
His
together.
statistics, his statistics are insane for where he's at, and I haven't seen a defense that can stop him yet.
Yeah, they're playing at home. I mean, everything's going for them. They
Which
better win.
I kind of think the fix is in a little bit. If you again, that's my
I mean,
conspiratorial mind.
So Joe Burrow with the coming into LA, that's just an awesome story, and winning. I mean, that is, dude, swag is through the roof. Like, I mean,
So
he doesn't have to do anything.
His second year, he went to the
Super
NCAA champ. No, his second year.
Last year they didn't do anything.
No, his second year.
This is his second.
This is his
No, yeah, his second year in college.
Oh,
He took him to
Right.
the championship and won. Now it's the second year in the NFL, and they're so it's like
they're marching.
yeah, this little Cinderella story kind of thing is pretty.
Definitely got that going. I mean, it's
pretty sick.
definitely the big underdog.
Yeah.
It's not an equal match by no means. And then we got the sweet ass halftime show. Should be dope.
Bro, the halftime show. I worry about the halftime show because I think it's too much star power all at once, and it's like, what are you
Small
gonna do in
amount
that
of
time? Yeah.
Yo, do you think we see Tupac hologram?
No, I think
No?
that was a Coachella one and done.
One and done? You don't think we see any hologram?
No.
I'm going Tupac's gonna be there.
Tupac
Hologram.
I think they
Hologram
bring
form.
out an actual Tupac. I think Tupac, 65 years old, comes out just killing it.
Squashing, well,
Killing
reigniting the theories,
The conspiracy,
man, the
yeah.
conspiracy theories.
Yeah, he
Have him
comes.
actually
He
come
comes out of Cuba. You know, things with Cuba have loosened up over the years. He comes out and he just kills a halftime show.
That would be
It's like
rad.
Mary. None of them perform. It's just
It's
20 minutes of
Tupac.
Tupac.
It's just hopefully.
Tune in
Tune
and
in,
let's
We'll
see.
see.
That's my QAnon conspiracy for the evening. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you, Roman. Thank you, mystery man behind the scenes. And we'll catch you later. Shoots. Yeah, my shoes.
Say Jake, I don't care.
My shoes.
I mean,
I think
just
just
keeping the
I think
facade.
And I've been down.